Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. All right. I'm just waiting just a few minutes for a few people to join, and then we will definitely get started on this event. Quick thumbs up. Can you guys see my screen okay? Awesome, thank you. Well, we have a few more attendees coming in, and we will get started. I'm just waiting for our other presenter to join, so that way I can ensure his microphone is working, and we'll jump right on in.
I'll confirm I'm here, Mel. All good.
David, thank you. As well as Jenna, are you also on the call?
Hi, yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone.
Oh, very exciting. All right, this is our first time using Bevy, so forgive us as we go through some of the bumps and bruises. We'll just give a few more minutes for a few more attendees to join, and then we will definitely get started. Make sure that I have the controls on the right spot. There we go. All right. We'll give it just another minute, and then we'll dive in. All right. So again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone for attending today's call. Personally, I am so damn excited that we get to see everybody here. This is our very, very first AEM Assets Global User Group meeting. So this is our initial kickoff meeting, and cannot wait to get started. So we're very excited to connect with different AEM practitioners from around the globe, share your experiences, your best practices, as well as grow our network with all of these passionate DAM strategists that are on today's call. So a little housekeeping slides are here. Please note that this user group meeting is being recorded. So to assure that we're abiding by Adobe's Code of Conduct for today's call, this meeting will be recorded as well as posted on the Adobe YouTube or channel through Betty, just to be able to promote training, education, as well as for future learning. If you do not wish to participate in the live recorded session, please feel free to reach out for the recording at a later time after this meeting concludes. Or you can also reach out to advocacy@adobe.com. Today's agenda is welcoming everybody, going through some of the housekeeping slides for a new Adobe user group, talking about some upcoming Adobe events, discuss topics that we can have for future DAM meetings, as well as doing some member introductions and answering any questions that any of the attendees may have. So again, welcome. We're so damn happy and excited to be kicking this off. This is a global AEM Assets DAM user group. Our meetings are going to occur quarterly and will be user driven. That means us and you. So this first meeting is going to kind of set the tone for how we're going to meet and organize our future meetings. So some additional user group rules to ensure that our Adobe user groups stay user focused. This is a safe place for members to learn, to network, problem solve. We ask that all Adobe user group session attendees follow these rules. There is no self-promotion or pitching of any kind permitted in the Adobe user groups. Do not contact people outside of the user groups without their consent. And if a user group shares a use case in the user group, please don't share that information without their consent. A little bit about the user groups. To stay connected with our user group, you're going to navigate to this URL. Most of you have already created an account. as well as you RSVP to join this event, but do make sure that you also join our chapter. There are also other user groups that are out there. There is an Adobe Experience Platform user groups that have started. So some of the key locations are in San Francisco, New York, Denver, Sydney, and so forth. Adobe has provided some QR codes here if you're interested in joining any of the user group chapters. It will take you to the main landing page. Or if you're interested in starting a new chapter, or if you're interested in nominating a user group leader to go ahead and put these chapters together, which is kind of how we got started as well. So a little bit about us. I want to take this moment to say thank you to Jenna Feldman, who is supporting our user group as well as today's kickoff call. So Jenna, thank you so much for attending. I don't know if you want to do a quick introduction or say hi.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much, Melanie and David, for launching this exciting chapter. I mean, it's so amazing. I put in the chat just where everyone's calling in from, and it's really incredible to see the global reach this group is having. So I'm really, really happy to have everyone here. I'm Jenna Feldman. I run the AEM user group program at Adobe. And so I'm here supporting Melanie and David and all of our other user group leaders get their chapters going and their meetings going. And I'm always available if you want to reach out to us. You can always email us at advocacy@adobe.com and we'll respond and we can help you if you are interested in learning more about other user groups or just staying more involved with the community. Happy to help. So thank you so much for having me here, and congratulations to both you and David for kicking this off.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate it. And David?
Sure, happy to intro first and hopefully hear some of the wider user groups intros in a minute. But nice to meet you all. So as it says, I'm David. I'm a tech strategist as part of IPG. Been working in technology and specifically DAM for just over 18 years now, starting out with let's say skinning old portal sites for internal users and customers, and then obviously building on that with deploying DAMs for both internally and for some of our customers. And these days probably don't get as much time to get hands-on with the configuration side of things as much as I'd like to, but I've got a good team of DAM product managers and librarians who get to do the do within the DAM. And really, I'm excited not just for hosting this user group, but also for hearing from the wider AEM Assets community, because I've been on this journey within AEM Assets for just over 12 months now, supporting IPG with our deployment across production. So in no way am I sat here as an expert, but hopefully as a facilitator to help learn from each other and help share success stories and challenges and so on. So yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you, Mel.
Great. And I'm Melanie. I also go by Mel. I'm kind of the opposite. I've been working with Adobe since it was CQ. So I have 25 years experience, a little bit more than that, in advertising and in technology. My title is a Department Development Director at MRM. I've worked on many different implementations with AEM from 6.5 on up, even longer than that. But I am also an Adobe champion, and I'm also a certified asset librarian. Fun damn fact about me is I like to post about my coworkers' adventures. So from time to time, you may see a furry cat walk across the screen whenever she likes to interrupt some of the calls. But we are very excited to see everybody here and talk about where you are in your AEM assets, how things are going, as well as some use cases and some items that we can discuss. With that being said, a couple more housekeeping slides. So coming up is the Adobe Skill Change. This is a multi-day, multi-solution event. Again, I'm going to pause here for everyone to get a chance to click on the QR code, but this is coming up in August. And on Wednesday, August 20th is going to be the AEM Glow Track. And in there, they also do have some asset sessions that you would like to attend as well. pause before I move forward on that. And in addition, there's also real-time CDP, AJO, Marketo, Commerce as well as stuff for AEM sites. Okay. Adobe also has some upcoming events as well. They have different customer success webinars that we wanted to Adobe wanted us to make sure we had this out there for everyone to be able to attend. So again, if you're looking to learn something new from the customer series, here's that QR code as well. Again, Adobe is also looking feedback from different customers regarding AEM as well as AEM Assets. So they provided us some QR codes for some reviews on G2 and Trust Radius as well. And I'm happy to go back to any of these slides if I'm going too fast. As well as we are one chapter for user groups. There are some other great AEM user group meetings that are coming up. So on Thursday the 14th, the Women in Tech chapter is hosting a session to talk about establishing metadata in AEM Assets for your Gen AI readiness, as well as on September 3rd, there is an edge delivery service for AEM Sites customers being hosted as well. So once you log into the chapter page, you're going to see not only do we have our chapter, but there are other chapters out there with a variety of different topics for individuals to attend. Okay. Now back to us. This DAM user group meetings are meant for you, for this community, this team that are attending. So what we really wanted to do in this kickoff call was find out more about you, as well as some suggested topics that you'd like to talk about in future meetings. So if you'd like, we do have this recording. You can utilize the chat to type in your name, your organization, give us an idea of your experience level. I do see in the chat there's a lot of people from around the globe, from Italy, Switzerland, Detroit. So welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you for attending. But we want to find out what are some topics that you would like to have us do in future meetings. Would you also like to be a speaker? Would you like to attend? Is there a certain use case you would like to present? Certain pain point we'd like to review, or maybe something cool that you found. I always appreciate a good damn tip. So those are things that we're looking for. So if you'd like, you can either raise your hand, we can unmute you, or you can unmute your microphone for a quick introduction, or we can utilize the chat to kind of get the conversation started. We've got people from Toronto, from India. Welcome, Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, Dallas, Brazil. And I love the yay for coworkers. So we have a lot of people who might be on AEM on-prem or using AEM 6.5 or AEM as a cloud. Looks like a lot of people are interested in finding out sneak peeks for some of the upcoming features. I definitely agree with that. I do know from Adobe Summit, one of my favorite sessions to attend is the top 5 DAM innovations, because they go over 5 items that are unique as well as new inside of the product. So I think that would be a great follow-up session. Any of the upcoming features, I do know there's a lot of items coming out in the release. New releases, yep. So anytime Adobe announces new software, they'll put that in a release. And it'd be interesting to find out how people are utilizing that release and what's going on. Tips and tricks, definitely. How companies are using metadata, how they automate is a great idea for a session. Large number of assets, yes, yes, yes. Beginners as well. So we can indicate beginner, advanced, or intermediate sessions as well. Optimizing DAM. Yep. Catching up on love all the comments that are coming in. I'm catching up and scrolling very quickly. Photo studios, yes. Managing assets for e-com, definitely. Finding out how other companies are using it and how we can improve. tools that are available for implementing, perhaps how you import your assets into the system or how you append your metadata. Some tips and tricks there might be great. Dynamic media, that's another great one.
There's a versioning as well. I think that's a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Using versioning with the old metadata. Lots of good suggestions.
I like it. Yeah, David, don't hesitate if you see anything here. I'm kind of
no. There's some good ones. I would ask, like brand portal, for instance. How many customers on here are leveraging brand portal? Would be an interesting one to know.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's anyone wanting deep dives there, or anyone who's wanting to talk through their experience of that, would be interesting. Gen AI, obviously, we couldn't have a technology call without somebody referencing some form of Gen AI within it, which is always going to come up. So you've got a hand up as well.
Yeah, so do I. Hi.
Hi, hello. I thought I would break the ice.
Good on you. Good on you.
Well, my name is Fabiana. I work British Airways in London. It's very great today, so it's typical on the weather. London in UK. I'm originally from Brazil, so I'm gonna just say hello to Thiago. I think he's the only Brazilian here, so I'll just say hello, a fellow Brazilian in the UK. At BA, we have AEM 6.5 managed service. I have been working with it for 2 years. We implemented about 4 years ago. We do use Brand Portal. I would love to see Brand Portal being a bit more jazz up, if I may say. But we're using it in kind of full swing. We have the whole of our stakeholders accessing it. Mixed feelings about how easy and how it looks like, a bit old-fashioned, but it's much better than the thing we had before. So, as a trade-off, it's doing a good job. But that's where we are with our system. Thanks for having us, by the way. It's a very good initiative.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very excited. Is there
Any other daring people wanting to? We've got.
We do.
You started it now, which is good. So I think Lee's next.
Yeah, hi, I'm Leah. I am in Richmond and I work for Red Hat. One of the things that we're starting to see is a lot more requests to make our dam, which it's principally available for consumption through Sites portal right now, and we're seeing a lot more requests for consumption by AI in various forms. And the problem that we're having is because we didn't originally design it for AI consumption, a lot of requests are starting to sound like, well, if you just tweaked it this way or that way and made it only about this or only about that, and we're trying to bridge the requests with the original intent of our dam and how it was built. And these things sometimes don't match up. So it's kind of a complex question, but I think it would be great to examine that, because I'm sure we're not the only people getting those kinds of requests.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, that's the one thing with digital asset management environments from an enterprise perspective, is they're going to grow over time. And as technology improves and changes, some of the unique business requirements go right along with that. And it's looking at, what's unique to you and how can you have that go in the system. So I think that would be a great topic to cover, with definitely Gen AI and how that's impacting our organization of assets, that is.
And I think as well, you touch on there, it's not just the technical side of it, it's the process side of managing those Gen AI assets. Obviously, the Adobe platform can can do so much, but there's also the importance of the processes around it, which is interesting. And you also mentioned, which is an interesting topic, is knowing what is the scope of everybody's DAM platform. You know, whether you're just targeting that finished content or whether you are also leveraging that DAM beyond just finished assets, more of those working material as well. So looking at the messages, obviously all coming from different industries and different places, you know, the DAM is the consistent factor, but how we all the use cases we have for it may differ. So I think in future sessions, understanding how people are also, you know, what is the scope for the content that they're supporting in their platform would be interesting to hear.
I do see questions in here regarding Brand Portal and Content Hub. From my understanding, yes, both of those products are still available. So those are very unique products in how they work. So I think a session maybe on both might be applicable as well. Do you see another hand up? I'm excited.
Hey everybody, hi, this is Vidhi. I'm from Toronto and I work with Loblaws. It's CVS and Kroger's combined in the US. So we have a similar food and retail market. Recently, we've started exploring how to move from Adobe Managed Services to Adobe Cloud. We are heavily dependent on DAM. All our e-commerce assets from all our digital products and then logos and everything are on DAM. But I haven't been able to present a good use case with the business power management to kind of move to cloud. So I think that would be an interesting topic, and how we can convince our leadership to make that big move to cloud and whether it's relevant for our business, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Perfect. So a session on migration and use cases to move to an updated system. Okay.
Yeah. What value can we show our leadership?
Perfect. I
Thank you.
love the topic. Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing too, is we're going to have users who in our group that are either in the beginning stage, intermediate, or more advanced, depending on you know, kind of where you're at and where you're going. So I think it's important that when we post a session, I'll indicate whether, you know, what type of appropriate audience that's for, because we really want to make great use of all of our time. So when we're attending a call, that we're getting everything that we need out of that session. You know, this one was hard because it was more of a kickoff and we're getting started and we wanted to uncover the topics. So thank you for staying on to provide that suggestion. The desktop app, there's, I see that one in here for using the desktop app for bulk uploading folders as well as the web UI. Yes, I mean, there's a lot of different capabilities with AEM. And I think exploring some of those different use cases would be a great topic as well. I'm still kind of reading through here. Yes, I do see some pain points with print or final art. Yes, it's going down to that use case and finding out how you would utilize that print and that final art for storage purposes as well as retrieval purposes, and that actually can also lead into archiving. So I think that would be a great topic as well. Quick shout out from Ben. Thank you for attending.
Any other brave people out there? There's no other. No.
Yeah. I do see one here regarding AEM Assets view. So I've learned that like the definitions from the definitions with Adobe are very important when you're searching or looking for details and information about assets. If you're using with sites, it's called a media library. If you log into Author, that is considered the admin view. But then if you log into experience.adobe.com, you're actually seeing the assets view. So there are those three different terminology. that is out there. And the assets view, I do know, was covered in one of the Adobe Summit sessions, that they had a great tip on that. So perhaps looking at some of the different capability of maybe even going over some of the terminology might be great inside of AEM. Then we also have the old classic admin UI view as well. Yes. Lots of replies on this one. I second that. I agree. Finding the differences between the two UIs and seeing what's available there might be great. Intro to Content Hub. Perfect. Still scrolling through. Anyone else want to come off speaker while I'm kind of going through? Oh, looks like we have someone. Maybe. Dynamic media integration with dynamic media insights and AI features. Perfect. All right. More clear introductions. Terminology would be great. Speed up communications. Perfect.
I've got a hand up from Jim, brave enough to come off. Oh, but still on mute, Jim.
Jim, you're on mute.
We can unmute you.
Yeah, it's not. He's got it.
There we go. Am I okay now?
Yep,
Yeah,
we hear you.
Apologies. I'm with Nordstrom. So heavy retail photography. We've been using AEM for about 5 years. We migrated to the cloud about 16 months ago. Last year was a busy year. We moved to the cloud. We integrated with Workfront, and I've made some internal connections. One of our biggest challenges, just as a company, is we have data everywhere. There isn't one spot. So we've done a lot of work making those connections and consolidating data. So that's kind of a biggie for us. We use a brand portal specifically for vendor assets coming in. And we use the whole Adobe Creative Suite, obviously. I manage a small team that's responsible for all of the daily administration and ingest, kind of the daily workings of AEM Assets. And we got a lot going on. I'm really interested in seeing, we've had Content Hub deployed for about a couple months, just for admins and some people within the creative organization to just get a feel for what it's doing, where it's going, and how we may utilize it possibly to move off of Portal and onto Content Hub, specifically for, well, a number of reasons. For internal users, specifically where we can group stuff there. So just interested on where it's going and how we may further exploit that. So lots of good stuff going on.
Perfect. Jim, thank you so much for coming off on speaker to talk about that. Great feedback. I mean, knowing how customers communicate that way is going to definitely help us out in shaping these sessions.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks for putting this together. It's really great.
Cool.
All right.
Looks like we also have, go ahead, Brian. And welcome.
There we go. Thanks. Yeah, I'm kind of excited about this. I work for Brookdale Senior Living. We're the biggest senior living organization in the United States. And we have an in-house design agency at the corporate office in Brentwood, Tennessee. And we were originally looking for some way to get off our file server because every job had all the assets in it. So we would end up with, like 500 copies of the logo, multiples of every image. But our workflow is a little different than I think a lot of people's, because we already had something in place that isn't outside of our control for delivering, like for the communities to order floor plans or for them to order flyers. that are customized to them. So most of what we use AEM Assets for is we're using Asset Link. So all the designers are living in that workflow in like Adobe InDesign. So everything, all the assets, we have our own in-house photography. So all our photographs are on AEM Assets. All our written design files are there. We don't have it connected to Workfront yet. We're looking at doing that because we use Workfront. And so, yeah, we don't, I guess what I'm saying is we give access through Brand Portal for our photography and maybe a few logos here and there and our floor plans for certain vendors. But we mainly use AEM Assets to store our working artwork. So it's not like a delivery. It's not like we're generating flyers and then putting them into Brand Portal for communities to pull. But I'm curious how things are going to progress with Asset Link, that kind of workflow. Because I always feel like anytime I see a presentation, that kind of gets glossed over, and all of the presentations are like, hey, look, you can update these images and push them out to your sales team. And for us, that's cool, but that's not where we live with this kind of product, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I think incorporating a session to talk about, I did see someone mentioned archiving, but Asset Link and just maybe unsurfacing some of those different use cases and how they're using Brand Portal, how they're using Content Hub, how are you using AEM, where are you storing? I think those would be great conversations to add.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thanks.
A lot on photography as well. I started to write that down and missed it. Seth. Hi, Seth.
Hey all, hello. I mostly just had to speak up because I had to say hi to David and Melanie. Good to see you guys. It's awesome.
See you, Seth.
Yeah.
If you hadn't spoken up, Seth, I was going to call you out in a minute. So Seth is.
I figured, yeah, I needed to be preemptive on that because I knew it was coming. Right on. Yeah. But yeah, so I work with a company called Blueprint X. We do a lot of AEM deployments, I guess I would say. And one of the topics I think that has been really interesting, or that could be interested in, that's been coming up is I see the Workfront AEM integration, more about how people are getting beyond, I guess, the that native connector, but also really interested kind of in any experience with other downstream publishing stuff out of AEM into like Marketo or other Adobe tools besides Sites. I know there's some stuff starting to happen there with some of the out of the box integrations, but yeah, I'd be curious as to how people are using publishing out of AEM for other products.
Seth, it's always good to hear from you. So I'm glad that you're on the call. And I do see that we're going to have a couple of different topics, maybe that are specific to just those using AEM Assets as their enterprise DAM, as well as people using AEM Assets for their enterprise DAM and Sites, or maybe just their Sites instance. So I think there'll be a variety of different topics there that cover through. And as we know, it all depends on what you own and how to use it, and then just determining if you need the use case to buy additional SKUs or other enhancements with it. I agree there.
Right on. Yeah,
and I would have called you out if you didn't come off camera too.
Right on. Yeah, no, this is great. Really, really cool. Looking forward to these sessions. So yeah.
Perfect. Hey, Brian.
Brian.
Hello, all. I thought I'd come off before I got called out, Melanie and David. So good to see you guys. My name is Brian Deary. I work at MRM. I actually work with Melanie and have worked with David. I work on a lot of client implementation of AEM Assets. I think some great topics to cover would be use of Firefly, Gen Studio, as those are very relevant today. But listening to a lot of people who are talking about AEM Assets, I think a good thing to look at would be adoption best practices for users and for companies that may struggle to get that adoption as they get started. So looking forward to this and being part of the team here.
Thanks, Brian. And I agree. It's I refer to, you got to have your damn champions to help support you with your investment that you've made for AEM Assets, or whether it even be sites. You have to have your champions who know the product and can help you, get through some of the challenges and requirements that you're looking for. So I think tips from that would be awesome to include in some of these sessions as well. And I'm actually seeing a couple of, thank you, Brian, I appreciate it. I'm seeing a couple responses coming in with links to different Adobe events that are coming up. So a few people had asked on Content Hub. So there is an event coming up that will help with that. And then there's a couple other Experience League links that I'm seeing as well to kind of answer some of these questions. I guess a couple of items for me is I'm always researching. I'm always looking for how to do something. And I'm also never afraid to reach out and say if something, documentation, something doesn't make sense. But I do find a lot of helpful information on the Experience League. So if you're not using that for documentation, but the one tip I really like is, depending on which version of AEM you're on, when you do search for items, take a look at the top. It'll actually tell you whether it's AEM 6.5 or as a cloud is for what you're looking for documentation. Hi, Greg.
Hi, everybody. So Greg Bassinger, currently in the Pittsburgh area working for Foot Locker Inc. And we've been using AEM for 7 years for the dam. 2 years ago, flipped to the cloud service, which has had its challenges in the beginning, but seems to be working fine now. Recently put dynamic media in place, which is more challenges, but got some good content on our sites now. My biggest request would be to have the ability, and I mentioned this in the comments too, for people that collect images from vendors or from photography personnel, whenever they export out of that capture software, for it to go directly to AEM Assets through a folder structure. This is something that I'm going to say 4 versions back in the AEM desktop app actually worked. For those of you that mount your server on your computers, whenever you use the AEM desktop app, it mounts a little server called DAM, and you can see some of the folders if you've used it to upload and download via that desktop app. It would be really cool to be able to point things like Capture One directly to that DAM server. So when they export imagery, it goes directly to the DAM rather than having to export to their desktop, then launch assets or keep the AEM desktop in the background and then dragging and dropping again. So automating that process would be awesome.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely think we do need to talk about desktop app and some of the capabilities to see what's out there, because as all of us know, there's more than one way to do anything. But I think uncovering some of those use cases from this group might be great to see how everybody's doing that. So thank you. Oh, hi, Heather. Oh, you're on mute.
Hi. Yep, I saw. Hi, Melanie. Hi, everybody. I'm Heather Jacoby. I worked with Melanie and a bunch of other people over at MRM several years ago. And I kind of want to add on to what Brian just said. One of the desktop capabilities that would be really wonderful is if it also gleaned the metadata. I'm not sure how advanced we could make that. But any of the metadata from the images would be great. And I do apologize. I've got 3 new puppies, so they're going to be loud.
No problem.
Oh, it's great. I just finished working with Inocean out in California, and they were utilizing AEM for the Hyundai sites. And I was just basically a content producer out there, and I was like, well, why don't we try this here? or what about that there? And they're like, well, why don't you look more into AEM? And I was like, well, we had a pretty robust system called GMDS prior, and we learned that. So yeah, AEM has been something that I have been trying to find more experience with, more knowledge about, while on the hunt for, meaningful work and things that make sense, like AEM. So
Perfect. Well, furry co-workers are always appreciated. So thank you.
not a problem.
Yep. And I agree. It's finding out all of those different nuances with AEM is going to be extremely important. So thank you. And we do need to look at some of those metadata and metadata strategies. In my experience, there's more than one way to append metadata to assets. So maybe a conversation on some of that metadata management, might be very beneficial as well. Perfect.
And I think, Mel, like you say there, and what Heather said, everyone's trying to solve similar use cases with AEM, but possibly approaching them in different ways. So I think in a future session we could focus on some of those use cases, and then hopefully people can speak up as well about how they've solved it. We can show how some of us have solved it and how maybe Adobe recommendations are, but even the upload, the photography workflows, the question about including the folder structures, we probably all have tried to solve that in different ways in our own organization. So I think we can all share those stories and see not see who's done it best, but see if there's learnings that we can all take from it.
Correct.
Gatsby now.
Yep.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Gatsby. I'm calling in from New York. I work at Coach on our e-com side. We use it for both e-com and marketing. I just wanted to say I think that would be great, having a kind of shared experience. Like you said, everyone's trying to solve the same things. We're in the process of migrating over from Dynamic Media Classic and Scene 7. And one of the nice things about that is any question I've ever had about Scene 7 or how to make things work has been covered in an Adobe Max from 2009 that's archived somewhere on the internet. And so it's kind of a closed system. And one of the big things we're running into with AEM is because it's so new and because it's so constantly evolving, and things work drastically different depending on what version, what UI, seemingly what day you access the site on. It seems like there isn't that kind of consensus of everybody's kind of looked at this problem, solved it 100 ways, and then found the 5 ones that work the best. And so I think just having that kind of structure where we can all come in, this is what we're dealing with, this is how we solved it, you solved it that way, maybe that works better, I think is really invaluable, because it's something that I just haven't been able to find organically through searching. And so just having a dedicated space that has some structure around it, I think sounds phenomenal.
Yep. Agreed. I definitely see that's going to be important when we do these sessions of, what use cases out there, knowing what version of AEM they're on. What additional SKUs do you have? For a lot of users on the call, someone might just have sites, so they don't have all of the capabilities inside of AEM Assets, where others have dynamic media. Some people may not. So I think moving forward in our sessions, I'll make sure that I kind of indicate, what products we're going to talk about and where we're going to go. So that way, is this a call that you definitely want to attend? I want to make this meaningful. I mean, I want to learn something, and I want to provide a space where you're able to attend and the content is going to be relative to you. So you're taking that time to participate in those types of areas. We also don't have to record every meeting. If we do have a use case that somebody would like to share but not to be recorded, we have that option and that capability, to be able to do that. So that way we can all learn, ask questions in that open space. So thank you. All right. Anyone else? Hi, Stephen. Nope. I can't quite hear you. It doesn't say you're on mute, but I don't think your microphone's picking up or the sound's turned down.
No.
Yeah, doesn't look like it doesn't look like it's picking up your microphone. It took me. I tested this with Jenna before the call, and somehow I set my browser to not allow my video or my audio. So I had to go into my browser settings to see if my microphone was never allow.
I just turned off my earbuds.
There you
Are
go.
you able?
Yeah, we've got you.
Melanie, David, thank you for hosting the session. Steve Post, I'm with Ralph Lauren Corporation in New York. We recently moved about 11 million assets onto AEM as a cloud service. So we have quite a history of assets. And we are looking really good from a product standpoint for e-commerce. We sort of have a high volume, high velocity machine in place. It's pretty custom, but the workflows and the ability to produce assets is going pretty well. In the area, we have a large internal agency that produces the marketing advertising assets. That area is really an area that I'm focused on, where some of the other folks that spoke are talking about sort of the workflow process and getting meta from capture and how we're getting those assets over. And there's many different ways to do this. I'm focusing in on Frame.io. We started using Frame for video when COVID hit. I know that some folks are a little ahead of us that are already using it for stills. I'm interested in doing that, but I'm really struggling with maybe not the best practice, but an ideal practice for getting meta out of that capture drive into Frame. The Frame is almost looking like the work in progress DAM, but then having the assets into AEM much earlier, right? We have this process today where AEM is almost an archive. Everything happens somewhere else, and all the retouching and processes and approvals. And then we're putting it into AEM later on with a swap process, right? We take the final retouched images and we're preserving them, which is great, but I want AEM to be able to participate in sort of the action that's happening and looking for ideal scenarios that others may have for doing that.
I agree. Again, that brings in another product, Frame.io, as well as that integration. I do know from many years of photography and working in creative. So AEM does adapt to Dublin Core, IPTC, and those out of the box, I'll use that term, as far as metadata, but making sure that metadata flows through so it's not being duplicated or having to be redone. Extremely important. It does look like we have some other people who are also using Frame.io as well. So I do think that some of those additional applications and integrations would be definitely a couple of important meetings and topics to be able to go over. And as well as other products, I'm seeing assets as part of the content supply chain solution. So you've got assets, sites, Workfront, Fusion, Frame.io. Yes, I'm sure there's many of us included, who have connections for these products. And the out of the box may not work for your needs, and we'll need to discuss, what everybody else has done or how are they working through those solutions. So there's a lot there to streamline as I'm looking through all of the comments here. So I do agree. It's not just AEM Assets, but this could be some of the other integrations, some of the other tools. Yep. Had somebody for a second. Don't know if I interrupted or if they wanted to come off mute. Is there anyone else? The last one in the chat is workflows. I do agree. Even there's workflows inside of AEM. There's out of the box workflows. There's customized workflows, and then there's those integrations. So I think workflows would literally take up an entire meeting on its own as well. In fact, a lot of these topics will. I am so amazed. Thank you for friends, past coworkers, everybody who's joined this call. Very, very excited to see how we can have this chapter grow, as well as opening up to getting different questions. A lot more coming in, assets, content hub, print, creative ecosystems, definitely agree with as well. You know, those are some of my passions. I originally started within creative and worked my way into tech, which is unusual, but it does happen. Perfect. I'll pause for a second, see if there's any other brave souls who might want to chime in. Check the slides here. All right, I do have our ending slide is there. So again, thank you everybody for all of this feedback. What we will do is, this is a brand new chapter, so we are definitely open to suggestions of content and things that we're looking to hear on. David and I will collaborate and take a look at our calendars. I do believe we are planning to do our next session sometime in October. So we'll take a look at all of the feedback that everybody provided and see if we can come up with some topics for the future sessions. Some of the housekeeping items will definitely indicate which product, whether it's AEM as a cloud or AEM 6.5, what integrations, so that way you know if the conversation is relevant to join the call. If you'd like to present, if you'd like to show us a use case, please reach out and we can you know, come up with those items there. Jenna, I do have one Bevy question for you from the chat. Are we able to create a group chat for questions, or would that just be the survey link that you and I had talked about, if you're still on?
Yeah, we're actually piloting something right now on Experience League. So it's something I'm working on with one of my colleagues to create like another way for us to have communications between the meetings. So more information to come on that soon.
Perfect. And speaking of somebody, thank you. I really appreciate everybody who's been helping us with the chat. This is our first call, so wasn't able to respond. But there is Experience League Communities does have a portal as well for the assets community where you can post different comments and questions. Perfect. All right. Well, we're new at this, so I really appreciate everybody who joined the call, for all of our friends, past coworkers who also supported us, as well as to everybody new that we just met today. Really looking forward to collaborating with you guys in future user group meetings. And this is amazing. Awesome.
Perfect. Well, thank you all. I see people are dropping, so yeah, it's great to hear all those suggestions, and I'm sure we'll have a good topic for the October session.
Yes, we will. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll give.
Thank you.
We appreciate you joining.
Cheers.
Cheers.